Hello, hello. Peace and blessings, beautiful, wonderful people. Welcome back to Philosophy with Z. I am so glad that you're here with me as we continue on our journey of this podcast. Today is a special day. It is the first day of season 5. Yes, actually, about 2 years. December, no, January of 2020 is when we began this journey. And I have a special treat for us. We are doing The Greatest Secret by Rhonda Byrne again. So, if any of you were here in the beginning, you know that this was the first book I did for my podcast because it was so inspiring to me. I remember reading it on the plane back and forth, visiting my family in Indiana, and it was just so impactful to me. And I remember someone sitting next to me on the plane asked me about it, and I was kind of trying to tell him about it, but it's kind of extensive and it's hard to just say it in a few words to the guy next to me on the plane. So I was thinking it would be so cool to be able to talk about this book more and share it on a greater scale. So that's what inspired me to create Philosophy with Z. And just so you know, I call it Philosophy with Z because I am a philosopher, certified. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. I studied philosophy for years in college and continue to in my daily life. And I haven't officially created income from my degree. So I thought, what better way than to utilize it than to create my own platform, my own income, energy, financially, all of my own ability. So I have this podcast, and this season I am also creating a blog series that will go along with it that you can have access to with my Patreon. And I also want to mention that if you are interested in having the audiobook or just a digital copy of this book, I will also link my Scribd account in the description. It's my favorite way to do audiobooks and digital copies of books. Although I have the physical copy of this book because it was a gift. And anyway, I just want to share that resource with people because if you use a referral link, then I get a free month and you get a free month. So that's all good for both of us. So let us go ahead and dive into Chapter 1 of The Greatest Secret. It's titled Hidden in Plain Sight. Let's see. What do I want to focus on this time around? It's so cool doing this again. It's like the same thing but different. Kind of like daily life. We wake up in the same space, but it's actually different. It's a new day all the time. So she talks about how she spent about 10 years of her life researching life to create this book. She studied many different religious and spiritual teachings and teachers, and it's funny because they all kind of come to the same conclusion. They have the same truth, and it's hidden in plain sight. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You have to wait till, like, I think chapter 3 before she actually reveals it. Let me see. Oh no, it's just chapter 2. Yeah, the chapter 2 is actually called The Greatest Secret Revealed. So we're just gonna dance around the topic a little bit right now. So it the secret is that I almost said it. That's so funny that I just want to like jump into it so bad. Okay, let's continue to dance around it. The secret reveals who you really are. And really who we are is happiness. We are the eternal spiritual being within this body. I am not simply a human being. You are not simply a human being, but we are most certainly having a human experience. And you might wonder, why do I want to know what the greatest secret is? My life is going great. Everything is fine. I don't need any more information. And I get you. I feel you. And she even says in here that we go to these workshops and we buy these books and we watch these videos. We study these gurus because we want to know the secret, the truth. We want something revealed. We want enlightenment, awakening. Of course, not everybody feels this way, but I have a feeling that if you're listening to this podcast or watching this video, that you are one of those people. I know I am. So she asked the question. It's just so funny to me because the question is, my life is going swimmingly, so why would I want to even know the secret? And she quoted the late Anthony DeMello, and he says, "Because your life is a mess." She says you may disagree, and she says she certainly didn't think her life was a mess. But let me riddle you this. Do you ever get upset, ever get stressed, ever worry, ever feel anxious, offended, or hurt, ever feel sad, down in the dumps, or despondent? Are you ever unhappy or in a bad mood? Do you experience any of these emotions at any time? Then, according to Anthony DeMello, your life is a mess. So, this was kind of challenging for me, especially right now, because let me tell you, I had a tough day. I had a tough morning. At the time of this recording, I had a tough morning. I found out some news that is actually not that big of a deal, but because of this transition that I'm going through in my life, it it really kind of tore me apart for a minute. And I was sobbing uncontrollably. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I was really, really out of my element today. I was not connected to the truth of who I really am. And so I'm really so glad that I'm doing this book again right now because I think that it is about to be so beneficial to these changes occurring in my life. I recently went on a retreat in Hawaii, and it was called The Wild Awakening with Jordan Rystrom and Allie McPhee. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will see me talking about them occasionally. And this is this is just so in alignment with that because she talks about how life isn't supposed to be plagued with negative emotions. You can live your life utterly free of hurt, upset, worry, and fear and exist in continuous happiness. And life is showing us there's a way out of suffering through every single challenging circumstances we experience, especially the challenging circumstances. But so often we don't see it and we're so lost in our problems. And I've come to realize that there's kind of two parts of this. Sometimes it's an energetic level where we just have the opportunity to refocus our thoughts and our energy into what we want rather than what we don't want. And that's kind of on a conscious level. And I'm now aware that there's also a subconscious level where our body is holding onto these different events and circumstances and problems in our lives. And our literal physical body tissue is holding on to it. And I am so grateful that I'm learning about how to kind of balance these two areas of myself and use them to guide and redirect myself. And so, this retreat and other things I've been doing the last several months has given me the exact key, the exact formula on doing so. And so in this retreat, we we screamed and we cried and we laughed and we danced and shook our bodies vigorously. Because women especially, we hold so much in our and our hips, and even our, let me just call it our V. Want to keep it a little PC here. Call it our V. We hold so much energy in these areas of our bodies. So literally shaking and dancing and releasing it all was so freeing for me. And that, in combination with the other books I've done on this podcast and the teachings that I have received from Sean G. Murphy, who's someone I mentioned all the time in my previous podcast, these people have all kind of given me the gateway, the key to remembering and realizing who I am, that I am just having a human experience. And through these daily occurrences of being human, when I am aware of what's really going on, I'm able to see these challenges as projects and opportunities on how to become more free. It's not for the purpose of me being bogged down by the emotions, but it's for the purpose of me acknowledging and being aware of what's plaguing me at the moment, and utilizing the tools that I have, that I've learned through my experiences, to become free of them. She has a quote in here from Michael James from Happiness and the Art of Being. Maybe I'll do that book next time. We must free ourselves from the ignorance or confused knowledge of what we really are. I believe what we're all looking for is continuous happiness with no taint of sorrow. And in Buddhist teachings, they say that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And that's something that I've definitely learned in this lifetime as well. That, like today, it was so painful to have that moment of realization that I was feeling very financially unstable in that moment and hopeless. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I called a couple people, got some encouragement and reassurance, and was able to calm myself, breathe through it. Eventually, I danced it out, and I didn't let it completely knock me off my path for the day, because recording this podcast today was a part of my plan, and I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like dancing today. I didn't feel like showing up today for you and for me. But I did it anyway, because I was able to remember the truth of me and dance it out. So I joined the physical release and the emotional release and the spiritual igniting to come back to the truth of me. And granted, the thing I was upset about is still present. It's still here. However, my perspective on it has shifted. And all I can do is be here now. And when I'm able to focus on my highest good now, funny how it just turns into the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. And as long as I'm high now, then I'm always good. It's such a beautiful concept. And I hope to impart that on you as I go through this book and share that with you. And that's what she has shared with me, that the happiness is my true nature, and that comes from within myself. It wasn't the people I was talking to. It wasn't the song I listened to, but it was me emoting, me letting my emotions flow, crying it out, getting through it, getting over it, getting past it. And I think it's so important to remember that this truth comes from within us, because it's not about the electronics we buy or the clothes or the cars or the food. The food is a big one for me. Thankfully, I am free from my food addiction. And I oh, I haven't said that yet. That's the first time I've said it. I'm so grateful to be free from my addiction with food, my obsession and compulsion. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So good to be free. If you struggle with that too, any type of addiction, I am here for you. I have been there, done that, got the t-shirts, everything. I'm on the wall of fame. I I got you. Just let me know. I can be a resource to you. But I won't say I am the source because it's an inside job. You got to do what you got to do for you. However, I'm going through it too, so I can give you some insight. Okay, so I say all that to say that it doesn't come from outside of us because anything outside of us is fleeting. You receive it and you lose it. Just it comes and goes. Think about it. How many times did you have an awesome toy when you were a child? And now at this moment, you don't know what happened to that toy. It just disappeared. Just gone in the wind. There's so many things that I loved when I was a kid, and to this day, I have no idea what happened to them. They, through different moves here and there, I guess they just went away. We never had a yard sale. So I have no idea where they went. But that's okay. That's just the nature of this life in the 3D. So it's important to realize that I am not that. The me that I truly am, the you that you truly are, we are not fleeting. We are eternal spiritual beings. But even this body is fleeting. We looked a certain way when we were born into this earth. And as we grow in age and duration of time on earth, our bodies changed over time. The me that Zalika was at 3 was not the same at 6, was not the same at 15. I have changed over time. But what has not changed is the me that observes. But I'll get into that more with the next chapter. Just know that mostly, actually, I'm just going to read this whole quote. Open yourself to the possibility that you can experience the truth of who you are at this very moment. How, you may ask? By noticing that the only obstacle is the in the way is your imagination, your imagined opposition. This is so crucial. So crucial. It's all in the imagination. Everything that I was freaking out about this morning was in my imagination, and I'm so grateful to have this wonderful divine masculine in my life that can help ground me and just talk some sense into me, because I was freaking out about being able to pay 4 bills that I have coming up. And he said, well, when are they due? They're not even due right now. They're upcoming, but they're not due right now, today. So he said, like, when are they due? And I didn't even know. I don't know. I don't know. I just pay them when I get paid. I don't know. so, it was all in my imagination. And it's so cool to know that my imagination has no bias or judgment. I can use my imagination towards whatever I want to. And it was just in that moment, I was in such a negative emotional state that I could only use my imagination to imagine the worst. But we are free, and we don't know it. It feels the furthest thing from possible that it could be so. We'd swear we're at the mercy of what goes wrong, even what goes right. And yet, here is the truth: freedom is right here. And this self realization is available for anyone. At any moment, you could have that moment of awakening. And you don't have to have been meditating for years or practicing yoga or on a pilgrimage in the middle of the forest. It can happen at any moment to anybody. And I just I just love that it's available for all of us. And no matter what goes wrong in our lives, we can come back to that truth. And no matter what goes right in our lives, we can come back to that truth. Because even Even those great things that happen are fleeting. So it's so important for me to remember not to be dependent on those good things happening, but to be happy just to be. And when those good things happen, I'm like, yay, this is a reflection of my internal state. And when those quote unquote bad things happen, yay, this is a reflection of my internal state. And either way, I have the ability to respond, the responsibility to go forward how I choose to, based on the truth. And the truth is, I am happiness, I am love, I am all the good things that I imagine naturally. I don't have to do anything to be it. I just am. And I say this as a reflection of you, the listener. You are it. I am it. We are it. So, as I close out this chapter, I'd like to refer to her chapter 1 summary at the end of the book. She says that we've accepted many false ideas and beliefs throughout our lives that have kept us enslaved. When we think of life being too short, shit happens, all that kind of stuff. She actually, where is it? There was a part in here where they were talking about this. Um, okay. You may think that it's normal to be plagued by negative emotions, but it's not. It's not. There is freedom. So, just remember that these are false ideas and beliefs. They don't have to be the truth. You can change your mind and change your life. Humanity is suffering from a misunderstanding of our true nature. And it is her hope with this book to free you. And it is my hope through this book to free myself and you. And if you don't hear it in my voice, if I'm not that resonance that gets you in the heart, please read it yourself. Please find someone else talking about it because it's truly the truth. You're supposed to be happy all the time. Happiness is your true nature, and you are simply experiencing being a person. So, I hope that you have moments of enlightenment, self realization, self discovery, awakening, remembering who you truly are. Open yourself up to the possibility that you can experience the truth of who you are at this very moment. When you fully recognize who you are, you will experience a life without problems, upset, hurt, worry, or fear. And you will be filled with joy, positivity, fulfillment, abundance, and peace. And I believe it. And I'm so grateful and happy to be on this journey with you. Next week, we'll be talking about the greatest secret revealed. So until then, check out my description box if you'd like to talk to me one on one. I am here for you. I'd love to discuss love, life, and philosophy with you. If you are interested in reading the blog post that will go along with this, you can check out my Patreon. The link will be in my description. And if you want the audio book for this, you can check out Scribd, which will also be in my description. So until next time, peace, love, and blessings.